Today we're going to start with another BBB series between two ODM clan members. We've got Spartan versus Raziel. Should be a very interesting matchup. We're going to jump straight into Game 3, so let's go back and quickly recap Games 1 and 2. In Game 1, Spartan risked it with a monstrous build against Raziel's Skaven. He burned two Cygor summons early in the game, trying to throw rocks at Poisonwind Globadiers. Unfortunately, they did not net him much value at all, and thus he was forced to advance under a heavy hail of poison globes, resulting in his support units evaporating Raziel's monstrous Rat Ogre force with clutch Regiment of Renown halberd support from the Eshen's Triads. Were able to overwhelm Spartan's monstrous units and win in the end. In Game 2, Spartan's Malice Darkblade Elves faced off against Raziel's Green Tide. Despite being caught a little bit flat-footed and getting absolutely pummeled on the charge, the Dark Elves were able to withstand the assault. The chariots, Scourge Runner chariots in particular, continuing to fight and fire on the big spider along with Spirit Leech, eventually bringing it down, allowing Malice to absolutely tank and chad the entire endgame. Now, here we are with the score tied at 1-1, a pivotal Game 3 with Spartan taking nasty vampire counts against Raziel's Cathay. The reason you haven't been seeing a lot of vampire counts so far in this tournament is because people have been banning them most of the time. From what I understand, from what I've been told, in general, vampire counts are very strong and can be very frustrating to play against in pretty much all game modes, so they are probably the most commonly banned faction right now. But let's go ahead and take a look at the build here as Spartan makes this nice wide development. We've got Crypt Horrors, 3 of them over on this far side, along with a Necromancer for support, some Fellbats as well. Got a nice front line of zombies. Over here, Mannfred von Karstein with his bald head up in the air. We've got 4 Vargeist, so some heavy mobile armor-piercing monstrous units here between the Crypt Horrors and the Vargeist. We've also got some Chillgeist as well. So looking to use that ethereal and again armor piercing to good effect. Miao is going to stand firm and lead the way for Cathay. Got a couple of Jade Warrior crossbows, some nice short range high burst damage Iron Hail gunners, some Jade Warriors for armor up front, some Peasant Long Spears to support the cavalry in the back. Now, Miao Ying's a great choice for a number of reasons in this matchup. She is a very formidable combatant once she's transformed into dragon form. Of course, she's also got healing with Earthblood, this AoE magic damage melee attack buff. I don't know if she actually brought that. It is nice to have in this matchup. Situationally against ethereal units can be pretty decent, but of course does have the Talons of the Night to just deal direct damage to them anyway. -8 melee attack. Yeah, for ground units and an AoE as well. It helps nerf vampire count stats a little bit, and if we double check here, I don't think this Necromancer is on a corpse art. I think he is just touching his Forbidden Rod on foot. Yep, looks like he's already taken some HP damage from that, so there's no corpse cart support here to heal or help juice the stats of these undead units. In general, the Vigor Mortis effect that now refreshes Vigor actually is super strong, so I would definitely recommend taking corpse carts in just about every single matchup, but the zombies are going to come forward very cost effectively, catch crossbows with their face as the Iron Hails open up on Mannfred as he tries to do a nice cheeky little flyby summon here. Gonna try and pull up some zombies on these Iron Hails directly, which will interrupt them from fighting. You see them whip their straight sabers out, and they're gonna start to chop these zombies up. But it's one of the reasons why operating stationary ranged units against vampire counts can be a bit tricky. With Cathay, you don't really have a choice though. If you want harmony, which you definitely do, you've got to take some ranged units. In the front line here, we can see, of course, the zombies just kind of wash up against the Jade Warriors. It will take the Jade Warriors some time to get through them, but they're definitely not going to win that engagement. Meanwhile, this far side, we've got Crypt Horrors collapsing, finding a gap, getting in and pummeling these Iron Hails. The Vargeist also looking to come bust this formation. Try and utilize that shock and awe to good effect. Speaking of shock, nice charge from Jade Lancers. They're going to get in here and do some really solid damage to those Crypt Horrors before getting rear charged themselves by the Vargeist. Vargeist coming after this back line, and the bats and everything is causing a lot of problems for Cathay, but at the same time, you see one Vargeist unit there already pops as it dropped down to the ground, was countercharged by a second unit of Jade Lancers. Now they are stuck in against these Chill Guys, unable to escape due to multiple slowing effects, but what it is, the Chill Guys, or sorry, the Devils of Schwarzhofen Vargeist here also taking some damage. The Iron Hails, really the burst damage is so strong that even in a situation like this where the vampire counts are going to be interrupting them a lot of the time from firing, they can still get pretty consistent damage out at that short range despite everything. Crypt Horrors are definitely a problem though. That regeneration means they'll sustain their assault much better than the initial shock of the Vargeist. Terror, of course, of the Devils and the Chill Guys here is affecting Cathay's units as a lot of their Iron Hails start to flee away. This is pretty ideal. Notice how Miao Ying is already transformed and is utilizing her combat prowess to great effect here. 580 weapon strength, absolutely massive. 60 melee attack, so especially if she manages to catch some of these units out in the air, like you see a huge splash attack there against those Vargeist. Very, very good splash damage from Miao Ying. Just beating up the vampires in melee combat. They really didn't bring anything on the power level of Miao Ying to face her in melee. There's no Goose, there's no, Blood Dragon, Vampire Lord, or the Red Duke would have all been good options. I mean, I think Miao Ying probably still defeats a Terror Goose, but I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't think I've tested that. But anyway. Yeah, some nice healing from Mannfred, going to continue to output, and, I mean, maybe if Miao Ying were to get surrounded by all these armor-piercing troops, she could have some troubles, but right now, because the chaff was kind of thrown in and cleared out largely before the Crypt Horrors could really get into combat very effectively, there's just not a lot of support, and so these monstrous units end up getting isolated, brought down by spears and gunfire and crossbows and all manner of combined arms weaponry from Cathay. Get in close and watch some more of these Jade Warriors facing off against the Crypt Horrors. Jade Warriors going to be decent, very cost effective, of course. Troops, that armor definitely helps them against the zombies and whatnot, and their own decent melee stats. 25, 37 melee defense is definitely solid. Only 39 attack on Crypt Horrors, unsupported. Another big reason why I'm such a big fan of the Corpse Carts is because that extra melee attack buff is oftentimes enough to overcome, like in a situation like this. Even though it's only an extra 5% chance to hit, it's a 5% within a range that you might find surprisingly impactful. Anyway. Yeah, now just finishing things off as the last of the vampire troops kind of get ground down here. The Chill Guys have been doing a great job staying mostly out of trouble. Some nice rear charges, but the balance of power is very heavily against the vampires at this point. And, when it's a human faction beating up the vampire counts, that's pretty much a guaranteed cast from me. So I thought about casting the game 1 of this series, but figured I could just do a quick recap of it rather than show you the entire thing. This one definitely was worthy of showing, and I think out of all the human factions, Cathay has the best matchup against vampire counts by far, given their really cost-effective infantry, the fact that we didn't even see a lot of good halberd units here, but they have some really nice anti-large halberd units. That short-range burst of the Iron Hails does mean that, like we saw here, even though they got interrupted, charged by Vargeist, just generally had some problems. At the same time, they were reasonably effective, and just the volume of stuff here is a lot to deal with. I mean, certainly I think maybe change this build up a little bit. I like a lot of what's going on here, but I'd probably change some certain things. But it's definitely a matchup that, yeah, Cathay, like I said, they're very cost-effective infantry, decent leadership, great magic, great character casters. I mean, Miao Ying, this is probably her best matchup, too, if I actually stop and think about it. But anyway, very fun stuff. Great job. to both players so far in the series. Raziel takes the win there, but we will definitely be checking in on Game 4 tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Taking a look at the value here, the Hex Race did a pretty good job. The Vargeist, although the initial shock was pretty nice, really didn't pay for themselves. Neither did the Crypt Horrors, and a lot of that is because, again, the zombies kind of YOLO'd in, killed without really contributing much, and there's not much other support besides. This is a lot of armor-piercing mobility investment, and you just need something to soak up the hits. Like, layering your Crypt Horrors on top of the zombies is really nice, because then a lot of the hits that would be going on the Crypt Horrors, especially as their models would normally get surrounded, instead the zombies can soak up the damage for them, while still allowing the Crypt Horrors to attack back effectively. Yao Ying shows her strength here and reaps some huge value, 13,000 total damage dealt. Very nice to see. Jade Lancers also doing a decent job. The Jade Crossbows contributed. It's just a nice combined arms win all across the board here, as Jade Warriors are able to hold the line just fine, and like 900 value on Peasant Longspears. It's fantastic. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.